In today's video, we are going to talk about a unique file type within Assemble called submissions. This was a file type invented by Assemble and built to solve a very specific challenge. And that is the challenge of sending multiple options for approval. So this can relate to all sorts of different aspects of creative process, but some examples would be you're casting for a role. You're casting for the role of a mom, and you need to send 10 different talent options for approval. Another example could be a location. You're presenting locations for a shoot, and you want to present 10 different options and get the team to approve their favorite location. But it doesn't just have to be for film related things. It could be for anything creative. Maybe you want to present different mood boards, or you want to present different graphic options, or anything and everything you can imagine. Now, the old way of doing this would be you create a massive folder structure, right? You go on to some sort of file management system, and you basically just create a few levels of subfolders and add in all these different options. And people have to go through those and kind of make their comments in a very inefficient way. And so we wanted to solve that. And so what we did is we created what's called submissions in Assemble. And this right here is an example of a submission. And so if I open this up, a few key elements I want you to note on the submission. Number one, we have the title, which is what we're looking for. Beneath that, we have the brief. So this is the ability at the top of this to add description of what you're looking for, which is very important. And just filling out that brief or that spec of what exactly it is we're going for here. And then beneath it, we have all of these different options. And so the best way to describe the submissions file type is a gallery of galleries. And so what I mean by that is we have all these different options down here for, in this case, actors or actresses. But if I open up one of these, you can see that this is a self-contained gallery for Rachel. And so I can click here. I can go through photos. I could add even things like videos if I want to put in audition tapes or something. I can add links to external websites, in this case, maybe a Model Mayhem website, PDFs, anything that you want to add related to this submission can be added in this self-contained gallery. And this is just one gallery of many that exist in this overall submissions file. And so I wanted to give you this overview. Here soon, we'll talk about how you collaborate with people around these submissions. But let's take a step back and just go through the process of creating a submissions file so you can get familiar with that. So going back out here to our folder, let's just go up here and click add. And down here, fifth option is submissions. And so let's just go ahead and click that. And we're just going to build out basically the same submission. We add a title, and I've already copy pasted some information, but you can basically create a long form of a spec here as you want. And then we just go here and click add submissions. And this is going to be our first submission. So in this case, our first actress. So we'll go ahead and click Rachel and then just upload anything that you want for Rachel or for whatever that first submission is. You can imagine if this was instead a spec for locations, we could upload a gallery of location photos and videos and walkthroughs of that location. So just go ahead and click save. And we see Rachel has now been added as the first submission. And then we can just go ahead and keep adding more. And so just jump back in here and begin to upload, more assets or files for that next submission, and just continue building it out in that manner. And so once you've added all of the submissions that you want, just go ahead and click save, and that submission file has now been added. So now that we've gone through the process of that, I'm going to go ahead and delete this submission, and we'll just go back to that fully built out submission. So let's talk about what you can do with submissions. First of all, great way to collaborate with your internal team in a number of different ways. Number one, don't be afraid to ask other people to upload these options for you. If you're working with a talent agency, perhaps you could come down here to your guest teams, which we've covered in other videos, or just create a new one. For instance, maybe we'll just call this a casting team. And what you can do is actually invite guest users to join your project, join this team. We have plenty of other videos about guest teams on YouTube if you're interested in learning. But then you could just go into that submissions file, give that team access, and you could just ask them to upload the options for you here. So rather than them sending you a link to a folder that you have to download and then re-upload, you could just invite them and say, hey, just go in here and upload your submissions directly into Assemble. So just one quick time-saving trick that can definitely help you speed things up with people you're collaborating with. Could be a location scout, could be anybody that you're working with. Next, let's talk about working together and approving these submissions. So first of all, whenever we open up a submission, you and your team are going to have the ability to come in here and leave all sorts of comments. We can come in here and drop a comment. We also have the ability to drop comments directly on assets as well, if you'd like, but basically just collaborate with your team in any way, and that's going to notify them of new comments. Second is that in order to manage this process, we have status tags up here. And so when we're within an option like Rachel here, we can click up here and there's two options. We can either approve her or shortlist. And so if we click shortlist, let's just go ahead and do that. Jumping back to this screen, we can now see that she's been moved up to a new section called shortlist, and we have other submissions here. So let's just go ahead and shortlist a few more options so we can see how that works. And as you can see, these options are all getting moved up to this shortlist. So just a great way to handle that first round of cut downs and get down to the options that you and the team feel good about. And then finally, if we do pick Rachel here for this role and she's approved, we're going to see now that she's marked as approved. All the other options are still there, so changes happen. So you can, of course, go back and remove that approval and approve someone else at any time. But as you can see, she's pulled to the top. The rest of them are kind of grayed out. And then additionally, if we jump back out to the thumbnail view, you'll notice she's now the only one visible. We no longer have that 4-square grid a thumbnail. Instead, it's just going to show us the one thumbnail of whoever's been approved. So that is the main aspects of collaborating around submissions. But next, let's talk about the other scenario where maybe you want to collaborate with people outside of your project. Maybe you need to send this out to a client or somebody outside of Assemble, and you want to get their feedback. So let's go ahead and reset this a little bit. And let's go ahead and remove these status tags so we get back to square one. And what's great about Assemble is that anything that you create within Assemble or upload to Assemble can be published out as review links. And that includes entire submissions files like these. So once again, rather than building that complex folder structure and struggling with sending that out and getting notes in email and feedback and all that, you could just simply come up here once this is created, click share and share a review link of this entire submissions file. So we've got a few options in here. You could definitely check out our YouTube videos around sharing review links, but certainly you have the ability to track views if you want or add password protection or a number of different things. But let's just go ahead and create that link. And then right here, we can enter an email and send that out, or we can just copy and paste the URL right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that's going to look like when we send it. Let's imagine that we email this out to a client, someone who's never heard of Assemble before, and they get an email saying that we've just shared casting options for the friend role with them. So I'm going to jump to an incognito window so we can now see what that external client would see. And if they click that link, you're going to see that this submissions file opens up in this nice, beautiful public presentation. As you notice, that user, the client, did not have to log in. They did not have to create an account. This just opens up and it's got nice, clear instructions at the top telling them review the options below and approve your favorite. And then this client can jump in here, take a look at all these different options. They can drop comments. We'll just need to know their name so we know who left the comment. So she can come in, or Simon can come in here, drop a comment. And then those exact same options that we saw before, Simon can shortlist different options, as you can see here, and start building out that shortlist, or simply approve their favorite. And it's all going to show them their approved or shortlisted options, just like it did inside the app. So that's the external guest, or the external reviewer experience, I should say. But let's go ahead and jump back into the logged in view. And so if we refresh here, and we jump back into the logged in view, we can now see that this has all been updated based on what that user did. We've also been notified. We're going to get emails and in-app notification saying that submissions have been approved or commented on. As we can see here, this has a comment directly. So if we open that up, we can see that this specific file has a comment. And in the review link feedback thread, we can see that that comment came in. Please do check out our videos about private review links and feedback threads if you want to learn more about how those can work. But all of this has been tracked, the new comments, the approval, everything flows back into Assemble from that review link so that when you log into your project, you can see exactly what's been approved from that external user, all without ever needing to even create an Assemble account. So I hope this has been helpful and help you understand the power of submissions. Excited for you all to get your hands on it and begin using it for any sort of creative options that you need to send out for approval.